Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to another video. This is another paid request from my dear friend Efree. He sent in a very generous PayPal donation for me to react to a couple videos for him, which are trailer compilations. Not only thank you for the very generous PayPal request, but also for being my friend. Thank you for that. This time I'm reacting to Efree's trailer compilation he edited to his favorite comedies of the 1980s. Now, a couple things. Number one, I'm not going to be able to show the footage because it would get copyright blocked because of one trailer or this trailer. It doesn't matter if it's on YouTube anyway, just YouTube picks and chooses whatever the hell. People could upload the same trailer, two people, but one will be blocked and one will be fine. Just how YouTube is. So the best way is I will have the link. If you look in the info box and scroll down, and with each of these videos, there should be a mega link that you can download. And if you want to follow along with the trailers, along with me and sync it, feel free. I'll try to have it down below. Also, I will admit one thing. I screwed up and I watched the horror film trailer compilation he did before this one. So I watched the action, then I watched the horror. I went, oh yeah, okay, this is the second one. And then horror. So I already done that one. But I'll warn people, in that trailer compilation, I screwed up. There's a point where the Child's Play trailer pops up, and I'm talking about, oh yeah, Child's Play 2 and 3, and the first one, are doing 4Ks, and they're doing special editions. I thought they were only 4Ks. They're not. They're a 4K Blu-ray combination. So yes, in August, I believe Stream Factory's coming out with not only Child's Play 1, which, you know, there was a special edition, but a Child's Play 2 and 3 special edition. And it's a 4K Blu-ray combo, but I think you can only pick them up in a 3-pack with Child's Play 1, 2, and 3. So there is a Blu-ray in it. So when you see that in the next one, I'm just complaining about, for the whole duration of the Child's Play trailer, I was wrong. It's not just 4K. It's a 4K Blu-ray combo. So if you just like and want Blu-ray, it is part of it. So I apologize. And for the future self, or my past self, which would be my future self, for being an idiot. So I apologize for that. So again, for news out there, Child's Play 2 and 3 are getting special editions. It's a 4K Blu-ray combo pack from, I believe, Stream Factory, I believe, in August. I think you have to get all 3 of the first films in a pack. Again, I believe so. But again, when that next time you see, I screwed up, so I apologize. But Child's Play, damn good movie. I mean, what more could be said? But we're going into the comedies, Efree's favorite comedies of the 1980s. I believe it will start off him talking again. So it's 2.5 hours long, 2 hours, 20 minutes, 47 seconds. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. So this is his all-time favorite comedies of the 1980s. He said this was a tough one. What does everyone consider comedy? Just comedy is subjective. So what is comedy? What is not comedy? So this compilation is his favorites. So if there are films missing, it's because these are his favorites. I will say in the future, if anyone wants to do a trailer compilation for me to react to as a paid request, it's best to keep it around 2 hours, the full thing. But thanks once again, Efree. Thank you for your kindness. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words, man. Really appreciate it. So we're getting into it right now. Is the trailer. The first one, which is Richard Pryor and Joe Braxton, so it's Bustin' Loose. Came out around 1981. He's a ex-convict who is pushed to do a job to drive this bus with all these underprivileged kids to go from point A to point B, helping, I believe, Cicely Tyson. This is a fun comedy. It's an entertaining comedy. And this film did pretty well when it came out. It cost around maybe 10, 11. I think it tripled that. There's some nice moments of drama where Richard Pryor's getting to know the kids and their troubles and what's going on. But there's also some entertaining zaniness. This is without a doubt my favorite scene in the movie. So you don't hear it, but he's like talking shit. It's like, yo, kick your ass, man. You talk to me. You should talk to me. I'm going to kick your ass, man. I'm going to kick everybody's ass. Then he turns around. It's the Ku Klux Klan. Which I don't know if you would even do that joke nowadays. Especially for a film about bringing little kids on a bus. But, hey, it's the 80s. And Richard Pryor, I'm a big fan of. Always been a huge fan of Richard Pryor. Love his stand-up. His stand-up deserves a Blu-ray. Live in concert, Here and Now, Live on the Sunset Strip. Those deserve a Blu-ray. This is The Toy. Now, The Toy came out in 1982, and I think it made a bit of money as well. Starring Jackie Gleason as well as Richard Pryor. Jackie Gleason from The Honeymooners. You had Ned Beatty there, who's in Deliverance, among many other films. I believe the little kid went into porn movies afterward. I don't know if they were porn films or gay porn films. Maybe that's Stephen Jeffries who went into gay porn. I think this little kid went into porn films when he was an adult. It's directed by Richard Donner. Yes, this is a few years after Superman, because Richard Donner had done Superman the movie, then Inside Moves, then this one, and then after this, a few years later, he did The Goonies. And I liked the film. I think Richard Pryor, I'm a sucker for him. There's not a lot of films he did that I hated other than Another You, and that was because he was such in poor health. It was sad to see. I thought Richard Pryor worked well with Jackie Gleason. I thought he was rather funny performances by both of them. Yeah, the kid playing pranks, kind of precursor to Home Alone, among other stuff. And I did. The subject matter is a bit wonky. You have a black man as a toy. But they kind of make fun of the idea in the movie itself. It's not like they don't mention it at all. But I think for a lot... I would say this. If you took the same story and if it was Chevy Chase, would people get mad at the idea? No. So the fact that it's a black guy, is that a bit weird? Okay, if it was a white guy, same role, you didn't change much of any of the dialogue, would people get mad? No, not really. They may not like the film. So I still enjoy the movie. I still think it's a fun film. It's not my favorite Richard Pryor movie, but I still think it's entertaining. Oh, this is a Critical Condition. Sadly, I don't think it has a Blu-ray. Not only does it have a Richard Pryor, may rest in peace, but Bob Saget. May he rest in peace. There's Ruben Blades, I believe. He was in Predator 2, among other movies. Wesley Stice has a blink and you miss a role. Now, this is later on in Richard Pryor's career in life where his afflictions were catching up on him. So it'd be times where he's kind of almost staring a bit off, as if he's not 100% snappy. But that's not his fault. Yeah, I think he did the best he could. But it's a goofy, entertaining movie about a guy who pretend to be a doctor, is well in over his head. I mean, there's a part in that Dudley Moore film, Like Father, Like Son, where a portion of it took place in a hospital. And I'm like, you know what? Critical Condition was a lot funnier than this. The film didn't do anything. This is kind of later in Richard Pryor's career, which his only hit was See No Evil, Hear No Evil. But there's another one I enjoyed. I actually watched this after I moved. And once again, it's later on in life, so his condition, you just see a bit more wear and tear on him. But this was actually rather relatable when I moved, because I could really see Richard Pryor's point of view. I just related to him so much. And you have people like Dana Carvey, Randy Quaid. Like there's a scene where he tries to do the middle finger. I did this. I meant to do this. I did this. He tries to do a middle finger. He does the wrong finger. But, yes. My favorite Richard Pryor film. My favorite Gene Wilder film. One of my top 5 favorite comedies of all time. See No Evil, Hear No Evil. I grew up with this film, but it's not just nostalgia. I can laugh with the characters, not because of their afflictions of blind and deaf, but with them, with how they handle it, how they work together. Of all their collaborations, this is them the most together. Where they were pretty much at the hip, like 5 minutes in, and didn't let go, and they just played off each other so well. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a woman? What? From the same director who did Silver Streak. I used to have to call me, I don't know, a good comedy. Man, you swear an awful lot. You fucking ain't right. Yeah, you swear something helps you fuck it. Fuck this, fuck that. And because Richard Pryor was playing a blind person, I think it helped hide his affliction. And actually, it was kind of a, sadly, kind of a fit role for him at that time. 10 o'clock, 10, 12, 12. Fuck him in his holes. He's going to put a hole in your head. Fuck him in his holes. Kevin Spacey is one of your villains. I adore this film. I think it's very funny. I think it's very entertaining. It's, in a way, progressive. It shows that a blind man and a deaf man can take on the odds just as fine as anybody else, working together. They're proud of who they are, they're proud of who they are, and they're not being made fun of. We're not laughing at them, like I said. And I think this film did decent box office when it came out in 1989. To a point that then they did another movie, Another You, which was an awful film. You look fine to me. Arthur Hiller's the name of the director. Love the score by Stuart Copeland. Stuart Copeland did very... And there's some very nice... Like, the way it ends is bittersweet. The two do a goof on each other. I'm not handicapped. I have you. And they put ice cream on each other. And it kind of... and they freeze frame together as equals. It's kind of bittersweet, kind of beautiful in retrospect. Like, that's how I looked at Richard Pryor's career at the end. And even Gene Wilder. Because the 90s, I mean, Richard Pryor did Another You, which was awful. His affliction was really too much. Gene Wilder wasn't that funny in it. Gene Wilder, he didn't do a whole lot in the 90s, and Richard Pryor would show up for like a cameo in, I think, The Lost Highway, the David Lynch film, and a few others. But Richard Pryor, a few years after, would pass away, and then Gene Wilder pretty much retired. So in my opinion, this is the both of them, their swan song. Which in a way I guess is fitting because they're working together. I think this is the best usage of them as a team. And again, the ending itself, the last shot, is very nice and bittersweet. And funny enough, it's an end to the 80s. the last part of the decade where Richard Pryor was huge. Same with Gene Wilder, and there you go. So I tell you, that was Cinemax thing. This is I could tell, Richard Pryor live on the Sunset Strip. I've seen this. This is pretty. This is when you had concert films in the theater. Once in a while they would do that later on. I did some bucks. I think like Martin Lawrence, One Till Death. There's a few others, but but yeah, this, in the 80s, much more prevalent to have a concert film go into theaters like this. Same with Live on the Sunset Strip. There was Here and Now. Before that was Live in Concert. Live on the Sunset Strip, this is him in the red suit. I think this is the one where he had the match. Oh, since you guys love me so much, and he flicks the lighter. I've seen you do this impersonation. What's this? Richard Pryor running down the street. He moves the match. Richard Pryor is one of my all-time favorites. I love Richard Pryor. Like I said, these need a Blu-ray. Like a Blu-ray set. Live in Concert, this one, and Here and Now. For preservation, among other stuff. I mean, I know there's not a lot to look at, just a guy talking on a stage, but I don't know, just for preservation and to introduce it to a new group of people, perhaps. Oh, this is Here and Now. This is my favorite stand-up from him. Most people say Live at the Sunset Strip, but this is my favorite of his. In fact, this is where I've stolen a line from him since I began this channel. You know, anytime I say, bullshit, my dick, it's from this. Just a guy was giving him crap because he said, oh, I'm not doing drugs right now. Bullshit. Bullshit, my dick. I didn't know what he said, so I thought he said, my dick. And I didn't really get what that meant, but I just took with that. I said, okay, he said, my dick. I said, suck my dick. Bullshit, my dick. Speaking of another stand-up at Raw. Eddie Murphy's Raw. Which I've heard that Eddie Murphy apologized for how raunchy it is, and he should not have, because I think it's hilarious. I still think it's a worthwhile stand-up. And Raw fits. It's ironic that Bill Cosby's like, your stuff is too dirty. I'm like, I don't know, Bill Cosby. I'm not, knocking women out and having my way with them. Yeah, Eddie Murphy Raw. Yeah, Robert Townsend. That's right. Robert Townsend did direct that. I think Tina and Ivory Wayans had a hand in producing it, I believe. Back to the day when they would film people, actors, of course. Oh, wow, it's the funniest thing ever. They just get people, hire them, and you could tell, like, they're acting. I remember there was one for Ninja Turtles, 1990 TV spot, and one of them is Christian Slater. Like, with 2 kids. I'm like, what the hell is Christian Slater doing there? But anyway, yeah, Eddie Murphy. Ah, yes. My favorite Eddie Murphy film, my personal favorite comedy, The Golden Child. Love this film. I can watch this film anytime and laugh my ass off. I'm so relate to Eddie Murphy's character, where it's such a strange situation. He gives such understandable, relatable replies to all this weirdness. Yeah, I'm gonna paddle his ass when I find him. Go roll your ass till it bleeds. My sweet brother Numpsy. Wait a minute, I just see you're busy right now. Come back another time. And that's one of the reasons why Roger Ebert gave this a thumbs up. Is because Eddie Murphy is funny, he's there the majority of the time, and it's just the way he acts, his energy, his focus. He just on all cylinders in this movie. Like, he knows this plot is ridiculous. It's almost like the character realizes how much of a ridiculous movie he's in, but he's playing along with it, as well as getting to be a hero in this supernatural story, which was cool. That's why he seemed cool, and he seemed... Not only that, you have a very capable, fun musical score. You have people like Victor Wan and James Hahn, who were both in Big Trouble in Little China, that came out the same year as this. You have Charles Dance. None. I'll whip your ass right now, you're... And they changed that voice from the trailer. In the movie, it's Victor Wan. And yeah, directed by Michael Ritchie, who Sally's no longer with us. He passed away. I know Eddie Murphy's not a fan of the film. I'm like, dude, it's better than Coming to America 2. Oh, is this Jumpin' Jack Flash? Yeah, I think this is Jumpin' Jack Flash with Whoopi Goldberg. My favorite Whoopi Goldberg film. I think this also came out in 1986. Now, Whoopi Goldberg, I don't really care for as a person. I think The View really hurt her. I don't think it helped her. Because I think The View kind of... She seemed like a cutting-edge stand-up comedian type of lady. Even though she didn't really do a lot of stand-up, but it's just she seemed hip and cool. I mean, very witty in films like this. With her attitude, I should say. Her attitude... Whether, like I said, in this film, in Ghost even, to a certain extent, in Sister Act, Fatal Beauty. But on The View, she just seems like got a stick up her ass, and I don't know, just... I don't know, it made me like her less as a person, her stint on The View. But I did like her as a performer in here, and I do find this to be a very funny movie. Like when she's trying to get the lyrics of this song and not understanding. Spike through my head? What? Mick Jagger. Speak English. You see this face? This face of a woman on the edge. Oh, I know, my wife has the same face. Well, you got two choices. Do you want to work here? Or do you want to live? But yeah, 20th Century Fox studio that's no longer with us, sadly. But yeah, Jumpin' Jack Flash, very fun. That's the story of a lady who's very, before its time, working on computers in order to, she accidentally, or by luck, fate, luck, karma, interacts with someone overseas via computer, which seems typical nowadays, but wasn't that typical in 1986. But I'm talking over Cheech and Chong's Nice Dreams. Which I know this is a trailer, but I know a good part of the trailer, I've seen this trailer before, is kind of this scene. Nice Dreams was okay. I mean, I would say I like Up in Smoke much better and Next Movie much better. I would put this over the Corsican Brothers, definitely. I probably would put this above Things Are Tough Over. Like, this is some fun physical comedy here between the two of them. But yeah, as a comedy team, they didn't make too many films after this, other than Things Are Tough Over and, again, Corsican Brothers. But by the time you kind of got into the late 80s, early 90s, they had pretty much broken up as a team, and for a while they didn't really talk to each other. But then for a few years they've been back and worked in, stand up as a team. I know there's always talks of doing another movie, like Grumpy Old Stoners or something, but that never came about. I know Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman himself, he's in this. Because he appeared in a few of these Cheech and Chong movies. He was in Cheech and Chong's next movie, which was before this, and then he was in this one. Hamburger, I don't think this trailer does a good job showing the movie. The trailer just seems kind of random. So I don't think it was a good trailer, but it's an alright movie. But yeah, the trailer could be a lot better. It's not that effective of a trailer to sell the audience on the movie. Paramount Pictures. Oh, I forgot about Still Smoking. That's right. I can't believe I forgot about Still Smoking. Yeah, I knew I was forgetting something. Actually, I would put this above uh, Nice Dreams. I don't know why I forgot about this. This was kind of a different type of movie where like, a good portion of the ending is just them doing their stand-up act like this and, filming it for the camera. And even throughout the film, there'd be times where they're playing as different characters and kind of showcasing ideas they've done on stage, but be able to do a little bit more. Yeah, this is the one where he's Eddie Torres, the extra testicle. I don't really care for the way it ends, which is like I don't know, the dogs pooping and all that stuff. Like, the stand-up, I wasn't really big on, that stand-up finale. I can't say I was really a big fan of that. I think that's the weakest part of it, but, I mean, I don't think it was ever up to the first two Up and Spoken next movie. I do like Born in East LA. I would say Born in East LA I liked more than Still Smoking and Nice Dreams. This is where Cheech Marin got to be the star. I think he wanted to kind of break off and try to make it on his own at this point. I remember this did get a Blu-ray with a few features. And the song at the beginning, with the title based on Born in USA, was Born in East LA. Pretty much is a guy who accidentally gets deported back to Mexico, even though he is American, and pretty much is trying to deal with being in Mexico and try to find a way to get back into the U.S. Daniel Stern's in the film. I thought him and Cheech Marin worked rather well. Was it Paul Rodriguez? I know there was some stuff cut out, especially the finale. Like the finale, which I believe is on the Blu-ray. I haven't watched the Blu-ray in a while, but the finale where there's more of a chase scene, and it ends with Cheech and this girl getting married on this float because there's a priest, and we don't get married so that you don't get deported. So they do, so she could stay there. I would have liked a little bit more the theatrical ending to see a bit more, like, see some stuff between him and Paul Rodriguez. But Born in East LA, again, that's a fun comedy that no one really talks about. This is Caddyshack. You got Rodney Dangerfield, you got Chevy Chase, you got Bill Murray. That alone is huge. Harold Ramis. One of the few movies about golfing you'd ever give a crap to see. Snobs versus Slobs storyline. And Chevy Chase had his A game. I mean, Chevy Chase is when he was a big star, because you have in this film, National Lampoon's Vacation, Fletch. He had left Saturday Night Live, and a lot of people at Saturday Night Live did not like Chevy Chase. I know Chevy Chase and Bill Murray had a fight with each other when Chevy Chase tried to host, and they were ready to fight. That's why I was surprised to see them both in this movie. And they do share a scene or two together. And this is miles better than Caddyshack 2. The only thing I liked about Caddyshack 2 is the song, I'm going all the way. Even this goofball part of the groundhog, the gopher. Think of Groundhog's Day. The gopher. It works because Bill Murray makes it work. With the way he talks, his accent. I don't know. I can't even do it. He makes it. I mean, Bill Murray, whatever you think of him as a person, he was an absolute comic gem. Whether it be in this film, Stripes, Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters 2, Scrooged, and more. Rodney Dangerfield, may he rest in peace. Even with him, you had Easy Money with him and Joe Pesci, which was entertaining. You had Back to School. I would say this and Back to School are the films people know Rodney Dangerfield the most for, but Rodney did do a few films afterward, like Meet Wally Sparks and others. Yeah, you do have a Kenny Loggins song in this one, just like in the second film. Stripes. It's hard. I keep going back to which is my favorite Bill Murray film. Sometimes I say this, and sometimes I say Ghostbusters, because I do love both. But this very, very funny film. I always get a lot of laughs and chuckles out of this. Where he's like, I lost my car, my job, my girlfriend, but you still have your health. Hey, give me the ball back. It goes through the other damn ball. Thank you. I thought that was pretty funny. I got it over here, I believe. Yeah, let me... As long as this doesn't fall, please. I do have these stripes. I got this because there's a 4K, but I got the Blu-ray because this has both the theatrical and the extended cut. So, because all the other time you can only find the extended cut, but this has... But I wanted the theatrical. I prefer the theatrical cut. This has the theatrical cut on both the Blu-ray and DVD. So if you don't have a 4K, not DVD, 4K and Blu-ray. So if you don't have a 4K, it does have a Blu-ray that has both cuts of the film. But usually you can only find the extended cut, DVD, Blu-ray. But again, this has both cuts. And again, there is a Blu-ray in this that also has both cuts of the film, which is nice. But yeah, John Candy's a lot of fun. I mean, he's greatly missed. Who cried when Old Yeller got shot? Cried your eyes out. And then John Candy's like, okay. I even don't mind the finale. Some people have an issue with the finale. I don't mind it. You know, have a little bit of action there. Our leads get to be a bit of heroes, even though it's technically their fault, but hey, it is what it is. And Harold Ramis, may he rest in peace. Not only could the guy direct, and I mean this is Ivan Reitman directing, also rest in peace. And you have Sean Young, who would be in Blade Runner. You had PJ Souls, who was in Halloween. Judge Reinhold is in this film. Warren Oates, which he would only do a few films after this, like Blue Thunder, and then he passed away. But yeah, John Candy, Warren Oates, Ivan Reitman, Harold Ramis. A lot of people say he passed away since then who was involved with this movie. But Harold Ramis showed that not only could he be a director like Caddyshack, he could act in this film in Ghostbusters, he could write, he could do a lot of things. A lot of talented people. Very funny movie. Ah, Ghostbusters. What can be said about Ghostbusters? I mean, this is probably would be in my top 10 favorite comedies. Again, I watched this. I love. Yes, it's true. This man has no dick. From that to Walter Peck and how much of a prick he is, to all the stuff in between. Love it. I mean, I love the idea. I love these guys are so blue collar. They're pretty much exterminators. They just happen to be a bit more advanced. Whoa, 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 whoa. Sorry about that. What the hell are you doing? Let's split up. Yeah, we could do more damage that way. Man, you guys, we got a cockroach up at floor 12. Must be one hell of a cockroach. They'll bite your head off, man. Bill Murray is snappy and smart ass. Sigourney Weaver shows she would not take any gruff from Bill Murray, was on equal footing. Hal Ramis was wonderful as Edon. Dan Aykroyd was sincere at being so energetic and knowledgeable on the paranormal, which he is in real life. But he's also much more of a sweeter type of character in this and the sequel. Fuck Ghostbusters Afterlife. And fuck the 2016 film. To me, it's only Ghostbusters 1 and 2. Ernie Hudson. I have seen shit that'll turn you white. I mean, it's a classic. The score, the songs, I think the effects are fun, have a charm to them, but the cast, the characters are what make the film work. And you have that wonderful theme by Ray Parker Jr. Ghostbusters is an absolute classic. And originally it was going to be Belushi, but he passed away, and John Candy was going to be in a role, but he wanted to do an accent of Louis Tully. It's like, well, that's not really going to work, that accent. So they got Rick Moranis. Ghostbusters 2, which got hated on so much for... I find it funny that people hated this because they said it was too similar to the first. Well, that's funny because I'm going to get people pissed off again. I don't care. I'll just do it anyway. Top Gun 2 Maverick is more like the first one, while this is a lot more different from the first one, Ghostbusters 2, but this was labeled too much of the same. I'm like, you mean them being Ghostbusters? I'm just saying there's a lot more differences between this and the first one compared to Top Gun Maverick 2, Top Gun 2 than the first one, but people give all the praise to Top Gun 2. And I don't even hate the film. I think it's okay. But if you ask me sequels, I think a sequel like this is much better. There's a lot more going for it with the cast, the dialogue, other points of the plot, the whole Oster subplot, the whole slime subplot. Makes it feel different and unique enough for a sequel. The mood of slime. You still have great set pieces like the Statue of Liberty coming to life. Yeah, I don't think you need the whole thing where the ghosts were forgotten and they get the team back together, but, it is what it is. But I think Ghostbusters 2 got a short end of the stick. I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. I just think of all the other sequels, they got more praise. A worthy sequel. Fun sequel. Now, Fletch is a film I haven't seen in a long time. I do remember enjoying it, though. As a guy who puts up with a lot of disguises and fake names as he investigates stuff. And I remember Chevy Chase showcasing quite a bit of his wit. Wonderful music. I believe Harold Faltermeyer did the music. And then there was a sequel called Fletch Lives. Oh, this is M. Walsh. Moon River. I do remember that. The Dr. M. Walsh, he was in Missing in Action, and Red Scorpion, among others. I think that's, I forgot his name. Walking Tall. Oh yeah, I forgot Kareem Abdul-Jabbar makes an appearance in this. That's right. Like a dream scene for the Lakers. I do remember that. I think this is Fletch Lives. I'll be honest, I don't remember anything about Fletch Lives. I know I've seen it, but I don't remember anything about it. Not saying it's a bad movie, but what can I do to you? I mean, for you. See, in the sequel, they're using a bit of that music. I think Kevin Smith took some of this music and used it for that Bruce Willis film Cop Out. I believe so, or at least in the same vein. Yeah, Harold Faltermeyer in that. Directed by Michael Ritchie, who did The Golden Child. Spies Like Us. Another Chevy Chase film with Dan Aykroyd. And from the director of Animal House and Blues Brothers, John Landis. Even though he was going through all the trial because of what happened, the trials on the movie where he was filming the segment, had 2 kids and the actor, helicopter was too close, too many bullshit explosions, helicopter crash, killed the 2 kids and the actor, and so there's this big old thing, and that went on for years, that trial, which ultimately John Landis was let off and let go. And in between, he was able to make films like Into the Night and this film, and I think this film did decent business. Of course, John Landis did Come Into America and go into the 90s. But yeah, I think this film did decent enough business. These 2 guys that inadvertently, I mean, in a way, well, it's not the same plot, but I would say this is much better than, say, Ishtar. I don't know why I think of Ishtar, but for some reason I did. Maybe it's like people that kind of put into the spy type of business and they're in over their heads. But Spies Like Us, I do remember being a funnier movie compared to Ishtar. National Lampoon's Vacation. The original, directed by Harold Ramis. Which I do think is the best one. And I apologize for one of my cats crying in the background. But yeah, you got Beverly D'Angelo, who's in the rest of them with Chevy Chase. There was European Vacation, Christmas Vacation, Vegas Vacation, and then actually they were in the reboot Vacation. Randy Quaid's cousin Eddie. You got John Candy, who's a lot of fun at the end. Very satisfying, them going through all the rides at the park. I love Chevy Chase's complete utter meltdown. We're doing so much fucking fun. They're gonna surgically remove from our fucking faces. That's not the exact quote, but I love his meltdown. Yeah, directed by Hal Ramis, screenplay by John Hughes. May they both rest in peace. Easy Money with Ronnie Dangerfield and Joe Pesci. One of the points of this plot is that the cranky mother-in-law makes a bet, some kind of bet or something, where if he gets rid of his vices, smoking, drinking, all that, loses some weight, he'll get some kind of compensation money-wise. Well, actually, this right here, that's what it is. The will. Yeah, there you go. That's what it was. Sorry, it's been a while since I've seen this. So it's because that will. So I did the whole. I think the bicycle. Yeah. Yeah, Rodney Dangerfield and Joe Pesci definitely make the film work enough to be an entertaining showcase. It's been a while since I've seen it though, so I'm not remembering a lot of details. I haven't seen it in like 10 years. But I do remember enjoying the film Easy Money. Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield. Which, I mean, there's a few films since then that have kind of ripped this whole idea off. I mean, Melissa McCarthy completely ripped this idea off for a film she did, and Life of the Party, I forget what the hell it was called, but it's like, this is Rodney Dangerfield Back to School, except it stars you. And you got Paulie, Uncle Paulie, Burt Young, and there's oh my god, I know him as well. The comment, yeah. Why? I'm so bad with names. Anytime I do this, for fuck's sake. Sorry, I'm just out of it. It's hard. It's hard to do these things. It really is. But pretty much Roddy Dangerfield having the time of his life, reliving college again, getting by, having all the money in the world, pretty much paying through it. Yeah, Keith Gordon's in this. He plays his son. Keith Gordon was in Christine and Jaws 2. Oh god, not Rhinestone. I mean, sadly, it's not the worst movie and the worst comedy I've seen, but it was such a bad decision for Stallone to do this movie. I'd have a bit of fun with Stallone, taking the piss out of his image, singing "You Drink It's Dying" and being this cab driver, but this was a bad decision. Stallone can't sing. Even by the end, when he's supposed to be a good singer, he still could not sing. Not all the comedy aspects work. And there's just a lot of other better projects he could have done amongst that time period. I mean, he said no to Romancing the Stone, instead did Rhinestone. Just not a great choice. Now, Arnold Schwarzenegger, on the other hand, did make some good choices. Were comedy, including Twins. Because, hey, let me get Ivan Reitman, who knows a thing about comedy, like fucking Ghostbusters of Stripes. I don't think Dolly Parton was a good fit for Stallone, but Dan DeVito, I think a guy who carry himself comedy-wise, fits. And you don't have Arnold singing or anything. Just have him be a very sincere Austrian oak who's a bit naive, while Dan DeVito's more of the streetwise guy. Has a good heart to it. You allergic to something? Y'all swolled up. Well, actually, he does sing, but it works here. Yati ya, don't talk back. And yeah, those two had great chemistry with each other. Is that music from Fletch as well? Oh, Blind Date. Okay, they used the music from Fletch in the trailer. This is an entertaining Bruce Willis film that no one talks about. It's pretty much, you could say Bruce Willis's first starring role was Blind Date. And it's from, oh god, I remember, Blake. I remember the director who did, I think he did 10 with Dudley Moore. I think he did Stand D with John Ritter. I could be wrong on that. I know he did Stand D with John Ritter. Blake Edwards? I want to say it was Blake Edwards. Where this blind date goes to hell between Bruce Willis and Kim Basinger. Kim Basinger's ex, played by from Night Court. That's my favorite bit. Moonwalk. I hate that shit. I mean, Bruce Willis showed his comedic talents in that movie. And underrated comedy that no one really talks about. That's a fun film. If you like Bruce Willis, you've never seen it. Full of life in that. Ah, yes. A personal favorite of mine, Three Men and a Baby. I always think the three people is like me, Efree, and Michael CP. I'm Tom Selleck, Efree's Ted Danson, and Mike Steve Gutenberg. Directed by Leonard Nimoy, Spock himself, and it's a crying shame that this film still to this day does not have a Blu-ray. It was the biggest hit in the US in 1987, biggest box office hit, made the most money, highest grossing. These three worked very well together. Tom Selleck, Steve Gutenberg, Ted Danson. Fun, entertaining, relatable, single guys taking care of this situation, and they're not, that familiar with what's going on, like how to deal with this baby. A lot of very funny bits, like this. You don't clean up. We should start, goddammit. You don't clean all that up. I built $100 million I'm an architect. I built $100 million buildings. I could fix a goddamn diaper. We're in trouble, Peter. It's a very sweet film, and the three actors do their jobs expertly well. And show that Leonard Nimoy could direct outside of his comfort zone, because he just directed Star Trek 3 and 4, but it showed that he could direct something other than that, and he succeeded. It's crazy. This is a film that, not a fan of the sequel, but this, I'll pay you $1,000 you change that diaper. I thought that was a good choice in the trailer where softly the narrator goes, and a baby. Ah, the sequel to Every Which Way But Loose. Which Every Which Way But Loose people thought It was the biggest mistake Clint Eastwood made, and lo and behold, became one of the biggest hits he ever had. And even this sequel, Any Which Way You Can, made like, I don't know, $80 million. It was a huge hit as well. Probably not as much as the first one, but still a very profitable movie. Right turn, Clyde. He's a big one. I like both movies. Every Which Way But Loose and Any Which Way. I don't know which I like more. They're both very fun. I do think the love story is the weakest part of both of them. This is when he had the lady where they were together and she was in like every fucking film Clint Eastwood was in at that time period. But they're silly, they're goofy. You got ape humor, brawling fisticuffs, great knockdown, drag out fight at the end of the film. I'd probably say I probably like this one a bit more than the first because I like the fight at the end and because the love story is a little bit more backstory compared to the first one. And yeah, William Smith is the guy he fights, and the first one he throws the fight, but here it is a fight to the finish. Also has that right turn Clyde, which I always remember and realize it's more so in this one. Very nicely done. Love it. Buddy Van Horn, who was, I believe, a good friend of Clint Eastwood's. Did he do Pink Cadillac as well? Could be wrong. Okay, is this, I can't remember if this is Cannibal Run? Because that's the Burt Reynolds laugh, right? I thought it was clever to have the cars run around the 20th Century Fox logo. Yeah, this is Cannibal Run. Because like, is that Smokey the Bandit? Because that's 70s, but yeah. This is a movie that they were huge. I don't know about the second one, but the first one especially was huge, but I can't remember if this is the first one or the second one. I think this is the first Cannibal Run. Pretty much Burt Reynolds, Dum DeLuise. Yeah. They go on this race across country, and you get all these various players where the director just showcases stunt work, and you get an all-star cast employed. Like you got Farrah Fawcett, Dom DeLuise. But yeah, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr. I think Roger Moore is in this. You got Jackie Chan in the film. There you go, Jackie Chan. This high energy spirit is pretty infectious. It makes the film fun to watch. D-Bar. It's just a sad thing is because of the gist of the story, there's not a lot of time you get all these actors together playing off each other. Because it's a race against time, it's a race to get from A to B. It's sort of their own little separate things adding up. But I did a lot of good stunt work. But it's labeled as, if you enjoy this, you have low intellect. No, because I enjoy goofy fun. There's Adrienne Barbeau. It's one of our two sexy ladies using their seduction ways. Dumb DeLuise got a little bit on my nerves with the whole, he has his persona where he's a superhero. That got a little bit on my nerves from time to time. I don't think it was as funny as they made it out to be. But, yeah, the director loved to showcase his stunt work. Hal Needham, I should say, who worked with Burt Reynolds quite a bit, because these films were popular. I mean, Smokey and the Bandit, even a Hooper made some money. First Cannibal Run was huge. So you get into Cannibal Run 2. Now you get the idea with these Cannibal Runs, especially the second one. They really didn't want to do the film. They just did it because, number one, it paid, and number two, to probably more than likely get a success at the box office. But I don't even know what Cannibal Run 2 did at the box office. Because I know once again you got Burt Reynolds, rest in peace, I miss Burt Reynolds. You got Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr. Was this the one that had Frank Sinatra in it? Maybe this one is the one that has Frank Sinatra, not the first one. But yeah, I think this one's the one with Frank Sinatra, not the first one. Jamie Farr is the Sheik. This one you got Ricardo Montalban, you got Telly Savalas, you got Shirley MacLaine, Jackie Chan and Richard Kiel now. There's Don Knotts. Tony Danza. Forgot Tony Danza was in this. Tim Conway with Don Knotts. It made less than half of the first film, but still made a healthy profit, especially for pre-selling. And it got worse reviews than the first one. But yeah, this was 1984, so I guess people thought Burt Reynolds' star turn was dwindling down. But yeah, now we're at Porky's. Kind of a film that was influential and being such a huge hit to, you had a lot more of these teen sex comedies pouring out of the woodwork after this, to various degrees of raunchiness or whatever the effect may be. And this did get 2 sequels, which I thought the sequels were never up to par to the first one. I don't remember hating the sequels, but they were never up to the standard of the first one. There's Kim Cattrall, very pervert, where she likes the smell of men's clothes. That is Kim Cattrall pretty much in heat. Of course, you have the infamous shower scene where they're watching, and you do get to see a lot of nudity. And the guy sticks his ding dong in there, and the female, one of our kind of female villainous characters grabs it. I'll go to confiscate this. Porky's Revenge. I think this is the third one? Yeah, I think this is the first one. Because Porky's 2, you had the next day. And this is the third one. You know what? I've seen this film. I don't even remember much about it. I really don't. I know there's like you mentioned, a basketball game in it. And there were no Porky's movies after this. Let's see. Thought the sequel. I don't know. I guess it made 20 million, but that's a big drop from the first film making over 100 million. So I just adjusted for Porky's head. Because Porky's one was 81, the third one was in 85. So by then, people were like, okay, we're a bit tired of Porky's. That's pretty fun. The Fox crumbling, yeah, the Revenge of the Nerds title come up. God, think of like all the 20th Century Fox movies, man. From sci-fi to action to horror. I mean, yeah, from Star Wars to Alien to Predator to here. I mean, like even this film, 20th Century Fox, Cannibal Run, 20th Century Fox. I think this is a film that nowadays people don't really accept as much because, like, for example, you have the bit where the one nerd has a mask on, and I guess, some would say they kind of raped that girl because she didn't know who she was having sex with. It was the 80s, I don't know what to tell you, it was the 80s. I mean, I still enjoyed the movie. Yeah, Fast Times at Ridgemont High with Sean Penn as Spicoli, Judge Reinhold. I think Nick Cage has a small role, Forrest Whitaker has a small role. There's Forrest Whitaker as the football player. There's Phoebe Cates, who will later be in Gremlins. Definitely one of the most unique Sean Penn performances. Which I know there was some kind of thing on YouTube where they redid the film with different actors. It was like Brad Pitt, other people, and Shia LaBeouf played Spicoli. And he kind of stole the reading the show. I think he was actually getting high while doing it. And then people like get mad at him. But he actually pulled off rather well. And I think Sean Penn was him on there, but he played a different role. And you kind of get the idea that Sean Penn was kind of laughing. Like he was having fun with what Shia was doing. Decent film. I mean, it's not a film I rewatch as much as other comedies, but yeah, pretty decent. As canon films. This isn't the last American Virgin, is it? Yeah, it is. I'm actually surprised this is on the list. I was surprised my friend Efree likes it. I thought he wouldn't like it because of the ending, which I can understand. Because it's definitely a different type of ending. But I was surprised he would have this on the list. I figured it would be not on there, but yeah, the movie has a pretty good soundtrack. Lawrence was a Monison. He's a guy who would be in Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter. He was a guy that, when they have the projector and the movie playing on the screen, Jason Voorhees stabs through the projector to kill him. That's the lead in this movie. And you have a pretty heartbreaking, sadly real, kind of realistic ending, but still a heartbreaking type of ending. Which probably hurt his potential box office appeal. I mean, there are times where it's trying to be very goofy, sex comedy. So it was a bit, what the hell, when this type of ending comes about. I just tell it's pretty much all the music that it has. That's what a lot of the trailer's appealing to. Like, look at all these songs we have in it, which is a good soundtrack. But yeah, Canon release. Forgot that was Canon Films. Now we have Orion Pictures. Is this up the creek? Yeah, the song, I could tell the song. I'm up the creek. I'm up the creek. I do enjoy that song. I thought the movie was okay. Kind of definitely influenced by Animal House, which is funny because you have the same star of Animal House in it. It's funny, you got one guy from Porky's and one guy from Animal House. And that's kind of the two films that influenced this the most, is Animal House and Porky's. So yeah, why not? Get the star of Animal House and get one of the stars of Porky's. Was it Tim Matheson and, God, the guy who played Pee-wee in Porky's, I forget his name. Up the creek. Was it Cheap Trick did the song, I believe? That's pretty much the end of the film they showed. Dan Monahan, I believe that's Pee-wee from Porky's. He's in this. Pretty decent for what it is. Tom Cruise in a very early role. I believe it's called Hot Pursuit. To be honest, I haven't seen this film. I've heard of it. I know of it, but I have not seen the film. Yeah, you have Jackie Earle Haley, long before being in Watchmen and the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. And then again, you have Tom Cruise in an early role. You got, was it John Stockwell? Who's really bad in films like Christine and stuff. I don't think John Stockwell's a good actor. Pretty them go on a trip, I think, was it over the border? And the hijinks that ensue. There you go. When Top Gun Maverick's coming out, they have people come up and asked about Hot Pursuit. Oh, losing it. Okay. Well, fuck. I just called the wrong damn name the whole damn trailer. Well, there you go. There you go. Shows how much I know. It's called Losing It. What the fuck is Hot Pursuit then? Okay, we're at Risky Business. What the hell's Hot Pursuit? Oh, is that John Cusack? I think it is. Damn it. So it was Losing It with Tom Cruise, Jackie Earle. Sorry, that's Losing It. This and this is Risky Business. God, I don't know. I haven't seen Hot Pursuit either, so for some reason I got confused. Yeah, that's with John Cusack. At least I don't think I've seen that one. If I did, I don't remember it. Anyway, I apologize. It's Losing It. But there's Bronson Pinchot. Rebecca De Mornay being very, very sexy in this. One of the films that helped bring Tom Cruise to the center stage of popularity. This scene has been mimicked so many times with him dancing in his underwear. I mean, it's the Tom Cruise dancing in his underwear movie. What more to be said about it? Better Off Dead. This is a movie that I know John Cusack hated. And he got mad at the director, Savage Steve Holland, that, oh, how dare you put me in this movie? Yeah, I thought it'd be so much better. You screwed me up. Damn it. And then, I guess out of the contract, he had to do a second film, and he was still mad about thinking this was so awful. And I don't know why. I think it's one of his better films. It's very quirky. It's very unique. I think the humor works well. There's Curtis Armstrong, who was Booger in Revenge of the Nerds, and he was also in the previous film, Risky Business. I think this is a film that has definitely lived on as a comedy. I mean, a lot of people talk about, well, not a lot of people talk about, but people like this uniqueness, I think. And it does serve a great purpose. And this is the other Savage Steve Holland film in the 80s. Well, at least the next one. One Crazy Summer. And this is Bobcat Goldthwait with John Cusack. And you also have Demi Moore as well. I mean, this one doesn't have as much of a cult following as Better Off Dead. But it still has that quirky sense of humor that Better Off Dead has. Yeah, Bobcat Goldthwait stuck in a Godzilla suit. Interesting to see, again, John Cusack and Demi Moore in such an early role together. Interesting that Bobcat Goldthwait introduced in this trailer. So this is footage not in the movie. I don't think One Crazy Summer really did anything at the box office, though. Decidedly, Better Off Dead didn't do that much either, it seemed. Of course, Summer School, starring Mark Harmon. This guy was ready to enjoy his summer vacation from teaching, and then he's pretty much forced to teach these kids at summer school. And either he's trying to do this love story with Kirstie Alley, or dealing with these kids, and at first he's as bored as them, and he's like, well, wait a minute, let's try to make something out of you guys. And the kids that are in the summer school have quite a bit of personality to them, especially, Chainsaw and his buddy, which for class they show the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And yeah, this is directed by Carl Reiner, and sadly Carl Reiner has passed away. But yeah, the people in this class, I mean, you had Ken Olant, who's the guy who's always sleeping. He was in April Fool's Day and Leprechaun. Dean Cameron plays Chainsaw. Him and his buddy are big horror movie fans, and they're showing this exchange student about the great points of horror movies. There's a Blu-ray with Shout Factory released a Blu-ray of this, actually. I think it came out this year, actually. Which that's one I would like to pick up someday. Speaking of school, of course, The Breakfast Club. So now we got definitely one of John Hughes' best movies. My favorite is still Planes, Trains, and Automobiles that John Hughes did, and then close by Weird Science and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but this is a good one. I mean, you took a very simple premise of having the story take place in a school setting during detention, and how do you play that off strictly by characters, how they interact with each other, their dialogue, and this whole bit with the five of them in this half circle talking with each other is like the last good portion of the movie. And I don't know if this is really a film that would get made, or if it did, it would not go into theaters. But the cast made the film work. It was a make or break it. From Anthony Michael Hall to Judd Nelson, which is probably still his best role, Judd Nelson. I know there's a lot of deleted scenes, like a lot of John Hughes movies, a lot of deleted scenes. Just one of the guys. I've seen bits and pieces of the film, but to be honest, I've never seen the film all the way through. Only bits and pieces. But yeah, you got Deborah Foreman in this. You got Clayton Rohner. Both of them would be in Destroyer and April Fool's Day. Oh yeah, Billy Zabka's in this? Okay. Yes. 3 O'Clock High. Three O'Clock High is definitely one of the more unique high school movies. The camera angles, the way it's directed. You see, even from the trailer, you see these camera movements, and just the director did such a hell of a job with this movie to make it stand out from the pack. The bully here would be the bad guy in Kindergarten Cop with Arnold Schwarzenegger. If I understand, at one point Steven Spielberg was producing it, having his name on it, but then took his name off it. I don't remember what the details were for that. If someone said, "Oh, it's too dark," I'm like, the guy had a movie where a heart got ripped out called Temple of Doom, but he thinks this is too dark? Very underrated movie, 3 O'Clock High. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. I think this is a gotcha. Hopefully I'm right. Last time I thought I was right. I mistook Hot Pursuit for, losing it for Hot Pursuit. But yeah, this is Anthony Edwards, who was Goose in Top Gun. He's in this underrated film called Miracle Mile. But here, he's a student that gets with all sorts of circumstances mixed in with espionage. Gotcha's because at the beginning of the film, he has this paintball game where he hunts people down, shoots them with paintballs, which less gets employed in the third act of the film. I remember this finally. I think it did finally get a Blu-ray. I forget if it was Tino Lorber. I think it was Tino Lorber because yeah, there was a commentary by the director Jeff Canoe. Yeah, it was Tino Lorber. License to Drive. Corey Haim is the star. Corey Feldman's supporting role. Richard Masur, who was in John Carpenter's The Thing, he's the dad. Decent film with the Coreys. I think Corey Haim is a guy that works better as a lead, and Corey Feldman works better as a supporting role. I think when those movies happen, the movies turn out a bit better. Not all the time, but I think a lot more times than not. Like The Lost... I mean, think about it, the bigger films they had was The Lost Boys and License to Drive. Who had more screen time? Corey Haim. Who had less? Corey Feldman. People go, what about Dream a Little Dream? I was never a fan of Dream a Little Dream. In fact, Dream a Little Dream 2, I'd probably say I liked more than the first one. But I was never a fan of Dream a Little Dream. I think just Corey Haim had that more likable charm for a lead. And Corey Feldman can work The Burbs. He worked well in The Lost Boys. But again, Corey Haim just had that more appeal as a lead. And Corey Feldman had the smarm for the buddy character. Of course, it's that song, "Did out of my dreams, did into my car," as you hear in the trailer here. And this did get a special edition with a few features on it, and you know, it started a little bit. It helped the trajectory a little bit of the Coreys going to the '90s, where either they were starring separate films or they got together. They did Dream a Little Dream 2. They did this one thriller that I forgot what the hell it was called already. They did a film called Busted, National Lampoon's Last Resort. So they did a couple more films into the '90s. But they were quite the heyday of The Lost Boys and License to Drive. Adventures in Babysitting, which for some godforsaken reason got a damn remake, which I have no idea why. This is a film I always enjoyed ever since I was a kid. Pretty much Elizabeth Shue, her date gets canceled, so she has to do this babysitting job where she looks after Teef Coogan, this little girl who loves Thor, and then you have this I always forget that's like Penelope Ann Miller or something as the friend, I think, which is a very unique role. Pretty much these people going through A to B to C. Don't fuck with the Lords of Hell. Don't fuck with the babysitter. And maybe, if you try to do this film, well, they did a remake. And even then, there was always kind of a remake with the Jonah Hill film called The Sitter. Like, you watch the Jonah Hill film, The Sitter, it's pretty much this film, only not as good. But I thought Elizabeth Shue and the kids worked well together. Did John Hughes have a hand in writing this? If not, it has a little bit of his feel to it. I like Teef Coogan. He was in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. On a few other movies. I think this film did a decent box office. I like the soundtrack, like when they're in the blues bar, and at the beginning, and then he kissed me, but no. Yeah, Chris Columbus directed it. I don't know who wrote it. I missed the credits. Midnight Run with Robert De Niro and Charles Grodin. Rest in peace, Charles Grodin. This is a very fun movie. You got John Ashton from Beverly Hills Cop. There's Dennis Farina, I believe. Yaphet Kotto. I forgot Yaphet Kotto is in this. May he rest in peace, from Alien and The Running Man. It was one of those times where Robert De Niro showcased his comedy chops. I thought fit very well here. And just him and Charles Grodin just worked. They had wonderful chemistry with each other. And was it Martin Brest who directed this? I can't remember. Should have looked it up. I forget who directed this. I know this got released in kind of a Shout Factory Blu-ray, and I think there's a little interview with Robert De Niro, but not too long. Just trying to remember. I'm trying to look up who has a 7.5 on IMDb, so this is nice, and was a pretty decent box office hit. Yeah, Martin Brest did direct it. Cool. So he did direct it. This is a film he did after Beverly Hills Cop. And then he did Scent of a Woman with Al Pacino. Meet Joe Black with Brad Pitt. I forgot he did that. And then Geely killed his career. And this did well with the critics as well. It got 94% Rotten Tomatoes. Roger Ebert gave it 3.5 out of 4 stars. He says, what Midnight Run does with these two characters is astonishing. It's rare for a thrill to end with a scene of genuinely moving intimacy, but this one does, and it earns it. Yeah, these two worked very well together. Coming soon to a theater near you. I wish. Civilization stands on the brink of disaster. One man can save it. Oh, this is Real Men with John Ritter and James Belushi. This is a film that I believe the first time I saw it, I didn't get it. I didn't quite get what was going on. Like, wait a minute, John Ritter's doing Bane, and people falling, and there's like a group of clowns, like literal clowns. And is this like, is there sci-fi in this? Or no, he's telling the story. And then when I saw it again, actually, Efree sent in a request for it. I liked it a lot more as years have went on. I kind of understand it's a bit more of this quirky humor, kind of a takeoff of buddy. I wouldn't call it a spoof, but it's kind of a takeoff of buddy cop films. It's a very unique, quirky movie. And John Ritter helps with these two actors help sell the ridiculousness of the premise. Who are those clowns but it's actual clowns? Oh shit, a clown attack. Yeah, sadly the film I don't think did much when it came out, but if you like those two actors, it's definitely worth a look. This is K9. I remember this trailer. And yeah, Percy Rodriguez is the narrator. He narrated a lot of trailers back in the day. For those who don't know, okay, the trailer for Jaws, that deep, serious voice, that's Percy Rodriguez. And this is, K9. He did a lot of trailers in the 80s and into the early 90s. I think he did The People Under the Stairs and... not the trailer, but the TV spot for the first Power, the TV spot. He did the trailer to Mutant from 1984. Yeah. I think this is a film that came out the same year as Turner and Hooch. But it kind of beat it to it. That happened a lot. Like Iron Eagle beat Top Gun to the box office, the theaters. K9, I think, beat... actually, no, I can't remember which was first. I think the same year, K9 or Turner and Hooch. But this one I liked a bit more. I don't mind Turner Hooch, but this one I thought I like the dog more. I don't know what I'm bad with dogs. I I'm fucking bad with dogs. Is a German Shepherd. I'll just look it up here. Saint Bernard is Cujo. Yeah, German Shepherd. I love the look of a German Shepherd. If that's the type of dog, if I had a dog, that's the type of dog I would want. I think Belushi worked well. I thought the ending fit, because in the ending of the Turner Hooch, like, it dies, but then it's the kid alive. I thought, I don't know about that. I thought it worked better here. Because it almost has a similar ending, but they went with the route I prefer in K9. Stakeout. Why is this film not on Blu-ray? It was one of the top 10 biggest hits of the year. I think it was also 1987. Emilio Estevez, Richard Dreyfuss, great team. Directed by John Badham, who did Short Circuit, Saturday Night Fever, War Games, Blue Thunder. It was enough of a box office hit. It even got a sequel, Another Stakeout, which has a Blu-ray. By this point, it'll get a damn 4K before this film gets a Blu-ray. Obviously, I know it always comes down to rights. The rights, who has the rights? If they do have the rights, do they even want to put enough money out for the rights? But it deserves it. You have a serious crime story with Aidan Quinn's character, who's escaped from prison on his way back to his girlfriend's place. You have the stakeout where Richard Dreyfuss is falling in love with the girl they're watching. The song at the end I enjoy. Is it love we're after? Which you're hearing in the trailer. Love, is it love we're after? Did we practice safe sex? Love, is it love? I think Forrest Whitaker is in this as the other stakeout team. I believe it's Forrest Whitaker. I could be wrong, apologize. But, yeah, that's a film. Let's have a fucking Blu-ray of that, for crying out loud. Armed and Dangerous with John Candy and Eugene Levy. I think at one point, and I remember there was a John Candy interview where he mentioned this was a fact, that John Carpenter was going to direct this film, which I thought, wow, that's unique. But it never came about. So, was it Mark Lester? I'm trying to remember who. This is a film I liked. It didn't do well at the box office. Came out August 1986. Two guys from two separate places. John Candy was a cop. He pretty much gets screwed over. And then they did a job working private security. Or a security guard, pretty much security. Being guards. And through the little misadventures they get into. You have Meg Ryan in the film. Yeah, it's Mark L. Lester, which is funny. This is the second film Mark L. Lester took over for John Carpenter. Because John Carpenter was going to do Firewalker, then Mark L. Lester got it. John Carpenter was going to direct this film. Oh, because it's going to be Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi. And then maybe John Candy. Aykroyd stipulated that he would not star in the film unless the script was changed to culminate with a car chase. There's going to be John Candy and Tom Hanks, but Tom Hanks dropped out. There's going to be John Candy and Eugene Levy. Director Mark Lester says the movie came out okay, but I wasn't used to working with comedians. I was trying to tell the story, put in some good action scenes, but they didn't care about any of that. They just wanted to be funny. Well, I enjoyed Armed and Dangerous. I know we're in the middle of Spaceballs. I mean, Spaceballs. Bill Brooks, fun parody on Jaws. The jokes, for the most part, work. Like Bill Pullman. I think Rick Moranis, he steals the show. I'm surrounded by assholes. Or when he's talking to the guy from Police Academy who's making all the sound effects. I get the beeps, I get the bleeps, I get the creeps. No one gives me the raspberry. We ain't found shit. That thing where they're watching themselves, they get the VHS, I thought was better, but done well. You idiots, you got their stunt doubles. John Candy, I love John Candy. I never really cared about Barf as a character. I don't know, it's just a lot of dog puns. I don't know, I just thought it was a waste of John Candy's talent. I've seen better. But I think his talent is used more in Armed and Dangerous, for crying out loud, and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and Summer Rental. But yeah, I thought the villains kind of stole the show, but Bill Pullman was fun. Entertaining movie. I know there was a cartoon later on that no one gave a crap about. Yeah, we're in the John Candy now. We got The Great Outdoors with Dan Aykroyd. Which Dan Aykroyd, his character, you just wanted to punch. And you felt really sorry for John Candy's character as these silly hijinks ensue. But Dan Aykroyd still got some chuckles out of me. I just, at one point, again, John Candy was going to be in Ghostbusters. That didn't turn out, so now Dan and John got to be in this film together. This is a film nowadays. You probably have like Kevin James and yeah, I don't know. It'd probably be Kevin Hart and Kevin James. It would not work half as well. But John Candy had that innocent, joyful nature to him that made him a lot more easy to root for and smile. But yeah, The Great Outdoors is a fun movie. I know I keep saying fun, I keep repeating that, because that's what the 80s were. The 80s were a lot about fun. It's not just nostalgia. Howard Deutsch. Forgot John Hughes had a hand in that behind the scenes, but yeah, Howard Deutsch would go on to direct. Didn't he do The Replacements with Keanu Reeves? I could be wrong on that. Another one that John Hughes directed, Uncle Buck, with a very young Macaulay Culkin, who would later be in Home Alone, which John Candy had a small role in, and that was a film John Hughes wrote. Then John Candy helps carry the film, just a lovable nature and quality to him. Yeah, so pretty much has to watch these three kids while the parents are away. That big ass pancake. I was trying to remember that line where the boyfriend of the, or wannabe boyfriend of the girl is talking smack. He's like, "You ever heard of ritualistic killing?" I forget the exact line reading. But yeah, this was a great starring role for, I mean, he's done films before, but like I said, he definitely helped carry this movie. I didn't realize that the trailer had Wild Thing Did a wild thing. And then not one but two TV shows came out afterward. I think one of them had Mike Epps in it. Guess what? None of them lasted long. Okay, I've heard it. Yeah, I think I've seen this. This is a fan trail where they try to make Uncle Buck into a horror film. There you go. You ever heard of ritual killing? They've done this a lot where they take like a comedy, they make it into a horror film. Like they've done Short Circuit, but they make it into like a Terminator film. There's other movies like that. I think long ago I did one on my old channel where I took Rambo, but I made like the Halloween trailer. It's like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. My favorite. Well, one of my favorite John Candy films. This is Summer Rental. What's interesting when you see the trailer, there's a lot of deleted scenes in this trailer. Like that bit with Steve Martin said, I'm here with a complete stranger, or Steve Martin trying to eat the pizza, or John Candy flossing like that. That's not in the movie. Even like Steve Martin, talking like that, that's not in the movie. And that's because you looked it up, this film was a lot longer. I mean, a lot longer. And there's big parts of the film cut out, but... And someone told me that, I guess, maybe John Hughes' estate owns all of it. But whether they don't want to sell it, or they don't want to do anything with it. Like, you had that Breakfast Club stuff, and that some of that deleted stuff was released. But nothing for this or Uncle Buck, which would be great to see. But yeah, this film is very heartfelt, one of the best road trip movies ever. Always puts a smile on my face. Love that film. Oh, this is Steve Martin and Lily Tomlin, All of Me, where the soul of her Lily Tomlin gets into Steve Martin's body. So part of it, they're both of the same body. It's been I haven't seen this film in 20 years. So I'm kind of just watching it. Yeah, I don't think I've seen the trailer before. I think I saw a different trailer, which was much shorter, way back in the day, but looks like fun. You know, Steve Martin showcasing his physical comedy. I'm trying to remember which one this is, Steve Martin. I can't remember what this film is. This might have been a film I saw once. It seems mildly familiar. I think that was Charles Grodin earlier on the bench with him. But see, it's not LA Story. That's in the 90s. And that's a pretty good one, LA Story. And Steve Martin, I mean, he's done Bowfinger. That's a good one. The Lonely Guy, that's what it is. Alright. Yeah, I have seen this. I think I remember being alright with it. But I don't have a lot of strong memories on it either. But I remember being alright. One that I'll put in there, since we passed John Candy, is I love Summer Rental. Love Summer Rental. I love Richard Crenna, John Candy. Even the boat stuff was fine with. Since I haven't seen this film, I'll mention Summer Rental. My favorite line is that when John Candy's on crutches and he finds all these people are over his summer home and they're doing all this stuff, and there's this overweight guy with all this food watching the Smurfs. Yeah, your buddy watches Smurfs. And he's like, you watch the Smurfs? Oh yeah? Did you ever see the episode where Papa Smurf got the shit kicked out of him from a... No, Papa Smurf kicked the shit out of a guy with a red hat? Huh? Did you see that episode? Did you see that? Rest in peace, Carl Reiner. Because this guy did Summer Rental, did Summer School. Rest in peace to Carl Reiner. Sorry, I don't remember much about The Lonely Guy. I could not get into this film, The Man with Two Brains. This isn't for me. I just didn't think it was that funny. I did. It's a sci-fi B-movie hokey on purpose, but I just didn't think it was that funny. I really didn't. And sorry about the cat crying out there. But yeah, this is again a film I could not really get much into. Didn't really do much for me. But you know, he's a big giant pinball machine. I did, you know, Steve Martin does a lot of overacting, but this one, I don't know, just I don't know what it is. Just didn't jive with me. Like he's talking to a brain in a jar. Maybe this is one of those where Steve Martin was just trying too hard. I mean, what about Carl Reiner? I mean, same guy who did Summer Rental and Summer School, but I don't know, just didn't do much for me. This is another one that I don't think I've actually seen, where Steve Martin has the big nose and got Daryl Hannah in there. Age-old story where, yeah, the one guy that doesn't look the best he has the words, the dialogue, the emotion, while the other guy has the looks. Roxanne. And yeah, I don't have much to say. Another one I haven't seen. Shelley Duvall and Rick Rossovich from Top Gun. He's the love. The good-looking guy is the love. Club Paradise. Directed by Harold Ramis. Also having Eugene Levy, Rick Moranis. One of my favorite Robin Williams films. It's goofy, it's silly, but it's highly entertaining. Yeah, Peter O'Toole. Film bombed badly, and I don't think it ever deserved to be that much of a bomb. I always enjoyed Club Paradise. Best of Times with Robin Williams and Kurt Russell. This is another film that I might have seen once, but I don't remember much about it. The Best of Times. Pretty much this game from back to the day, they want to replay it. So they get all these guys up to get their second chance. I think Roger Spottiswoode, the guy who would go on to direct The Sixth Day with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think Stop When My Mom Will Shoot with Sylvester Stallone. Tom Hanks. Is this a bachelor party? Yeah, this is when Tom Hanks actually did comedies, like strictly comedy stuff. He never really went back to doing this type of stuff. I mean, during this time period, he was doing films like Bachelor Party, Turner Hooch, The Burbs, Dragnet, The Money Pit, Splash, Big, decent amount of them hits. And then when he got into the 90s, like, no, I want to go more dramatic. And I mean, it worked out for him doing Forrest Gump and Philadelphia, Castaway, all that jazz. But did miss the comedic portions of Tom Hanks. Actually, one of these guys is Michael Dudikoff. Guy would be the American Ninja. Yeah, one of the guys who's friends with Tom Hanks is Michael Dudikoff. The girl's like, obviously better 3D. She get punched. And just her look. And yes, there was a sequel, but it's ain't worth spit. There's another 20th Century Fox movie. Damn. Like, all these Fox films. So I guess what, Disney owns them? Or maybe some other company owns them. I don't know. Let's see, Tom Hanks again. Oh. Volunteers. I'm going to say this right here. I think this is one of the worst comedies of the 80s. I do. I disagree, man. This is one of the worst comedies of the 80s. I thought Tom Hanks had a weird fake accent he was trying to do. I think John Candy wasn't that funny in this. Tom Hanks' character just came off much more of a prick and unlikable in this movie. I didn't think the story was that interesting. Tom Hanks and John Candy didn't really seem like they had much scenes together. Instead, like, John Candy's off his own thing, being kind of a bad guy, but not, and that whole stuff was just not that. I don't know what the hell they were doing with that. And I don't know, there's nothing really funny in this film. There's nothing entertaining in this film. I got zero laughs out of this movie. I mean, John Candy pretending to be like that he had a villain and he's been influenced, and something about this bridge, and we gotta stop this bridge, or we gotta complete this bridge. I don't know why the hell Tom Hanks and John Candy did this movie. I really don't. I just like, hey, Splash was big. We gotta get these two in a movie somewhere. Somehow. But it's like, you couldn't pick a better fucking project for these two guys to go in? And as much as I like Eugene Levy, like, if Tom Hanks was in Armed and Dangerous, that would have been pretty cool, Tom Hanks and John Candy, but that didn't work out. And yeah, Volunteers, I think it's one of Tom Hanks' worst films. Completely unfunny. Wait, Steven Spielberg had a hand producing this? Really? Did I read that right? The Money Pit? Is that true? Wow, I didn't know that. Tom Hanks laughing, yeah. Yeah, co-executive produced by Steven Spielberg. I did not realize that. Pretty much this couple buys a house and just how absolutely shit this house is, and it keeps falling apart upon them. It does make you wonder, like, what the hell's going to happen next with this house, and whether there's any situation going to happen afterward. Directed by Richard Benjamin, who's an actor, but he also directed Downtown, pretty good film from 1990, with Forrest Whitaker and Anthony Edwards. My Stepmother's an Alien. Before this, did City Heat with Clint Eastwood. Airplane 2. I like both Airplanes. Airplane 1 and 2. I think they're both very fun comedies. Airplane 2, William Shatner is fairly entertaining. I think he steals the show. Bits of it feel familiar to the first one. I think they even hone in on that. They have the same type of pilots, some of the same type of jokes, but they throw a little bit of sci-fi in there, which was cool as a fan of sci-fi. You get Robert Hayes and all these other actors back into the project. I think Lloyd Bridges is in this film as well as, you know, Robert Hayes and these others. Yeah, you get people like Sonny Bono, and I think this is the Linda Blair's in the movie, I believe. Yeah, Robert Hayes, Julie Haggerty, Raymond Burr, Lloyd Bridges, Chuck Connors, Peter Graves, who's in the first one. Yeah, William Shatner. Like I said, William Shatner steals the damn show. I actually never saw this trailer. I saw a different trailer, but I've never seen this trailer for Airplane 2. You may now remove your 3D glasses and immediately return them to the attendant in the lobby. No, I'm going to steal them. They're my 3D glasses. You can't have them. But yeah, Airplane 2 is a fun sequel. But I do like the first one as well. Lad company release. Let's see. So I gotta walk in with a suitcase. Chuck Lumley works nice. I have no idea what the hell this movie is. Oh, is this Night Shift with Michael Keaton and Henry Winkler? This might be Night Shift. Yep, it is. Yeah, Michael Keaton, who would go on to be in Batman, and Henry Winkler, the Fonz himself. I actually never saw the trailer to, like, this is a teaser to Night Shift. That's pretty cool. Pretty much they have a pimping place at the city morgue. Huh. Wow, Henry Winkler's Dingdale, the biggest. That's right, yeah, directed by Ron Howard. Early film for his direct. Not the first, but definitely an earlier film in his career. Which you would want to be a direct Cocoon, Willow, among many others. Mr. Mom. I've seen the film probably once. I'd probably say I've heard it referenced more than I've seen it. Again, I've only seen it maybe once. For some reason, I remember it wasn't as funny in the third act. Maybe not. Can't remember. Maybe it's just him going a little bit crazy as the movie goes along. It's been a while since I've seen Mr. Mom. Christopher Lloyd's in it? Written by John Hughes, huh? Okay, Mr. Mom. Again, I've seen it once and I reference it, but I think this is The Squeeze. Michael Keaton. I think I remember this being alright for what it is. Not for lack of Michael Keaton trying. But yeah, I remember this being an alright film. But yeah, I'm really struggling to remember much about. Is that Meatloaf in the film? And I think Ray Don Chan from Commando, he's in the film. But I don't even know if this film has a DVD or Blu-ray release. I remember it has that really weird cover. It was like the Twin Towers or something, or squishing him, and he's in the middle. Oh, Gun Ho, another Ron Howard film. Pretty much the American and Asian motor companies working together, differing, culture clash, differences between the two. Yeah, Michael Keaton, you got Diddy Watanabe. Of course, he had the gone sound effect. I think that's Clint Howard there, is with the beard. Ron Howard's brother. Again, this is another film I haven't seen in a long time. I remember being decently enjoyable. Okay, so it does have that song, I'm Turning Japanese. Which, isn't that song really about, like, masturbation or something? I'm Turning Japanese? I don't know. I thought there was some weird meaning to that song. Person might have been putting me on. Or the person who wrote the article might be putting me on. I know I had a short-lived TV show with... At least Scott Bakula was on the TV show. Didn't last too long, though. But you'd be surprised how many movies got TV show versions back in the day. Ah, Beetlejuice. Speaking of Michael Keaton, yeah, of course, you gotta have Beetlejuice in there. Tim Burton did a wonderful job. Of course, worked with Michael Keaton, which will lead on to Batman. Very nice creativity here. Oh, it's a trailer for the 4K, okay. Why this film does not have, like, special features is still crazy to me. Why doesn't it have, like, a documentary? I don't understand. I mean, this film made a pretty decent impact when it came out. A lot of people still remember it to this day. Tim Burton's wild creativity and the 80s charm of the visuals, and just wondering what the hell's going to happen next. Very well done. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. And Martin Team, you gotta remember, is not in the film a whole lot, but he makes a huge impression. Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Speaking of, another Tim Burton film. This is a film I remember seeing as a kid, and it still has that creative charm to it, and a bit of childhood innocence to the whole thing. Not like over the top raunchy or that stuff. Very quirky. And Paul Reubens would work. I mean, he was a small bit in Batman Returns as at the very beginning, the father of the Penguin at the beginning of the film. But it was cool, the Hollywood lot, seeing all the, like, Godzilla and The music video, all these things that would get in between. Large Marge. That's definitely a memorable part of the movie. If I try to watch something Pee Wee Herman nowadays, this isn't for me, but that is still a pretty decent flick. Ah, yes. I was wondering what is going to be on here. Crocodile Dundee. Love Crocodile Dundee. Again, this would be in my favorites list of the of just comedies of all time. Fish out of water quality to it. Paul Hogan. This film, people forget how huge this film was when it came out. I mean, it was huge. That's why it dumbfounds me yet again why it does not have any type of a special edition. Just so many people saw this film back in the day and they just nothing. Just a bare bones Blu-ray with nothing on it. I'm like, what? One what? Like, there's a sincerity to Paul Hogan's performance. I'm sure a lot of people in Australia don't like the film because they felt the movie makes it seem as if all Australians are backwoods. But no, I mean, it's like you watch a film. It doesn't mean one asshole American means all Americans are assholes or anything in between. Just then there's this sincerity to the character, and at the time, him and Linda Kozlowski would become an item for quite a few years. I know some of the language was changed, because if you did, I guess, the Blu-ray from Australia, the language is a bit more uncut. That's not a knife. That's a knife. Very nice love story. I love the ending. I thought the ending was very sweet. I thought the music and the way they reunite with each other was wonderful at the end. This is a very fun movie. I mean, huge hit when it came out. Huge. Just again, people don't realize just how big that was. I wonder, are we going to see Crocodile Dundee 2? It's Paramount. But, yep. Now, this film was a huge hit as well. I mean, maybe not a lot of people seem to talk about Crocodile Dundee 2, but this film, when it came out, made $100 million in the U.S. $100 million. That's a lot in today's standards, let alone back in the day. Like, people forget, again, just how damn huge these films were. That's why it was always crazy, like, you have a film that made $100 million in the U.S., $109 million, and you don't make another movie. That's crazy to me. And it's not like these films cost, a tremendous amount to make. This one's definitely much more of an action film, but it worked for the story. But at one point, Linda Kozlowski's character gets kidnapped, and Mick Dundee has to go rescue her, and it made a nice change of pace to turn a little bit more of an action film, and it's a satisfying sequel. I would say the first one's still my favorite, but this is still entertaining. Came out on my birthday, actually. May 25th, 1988. It was around the same time as Rambo 3. It made more money than Rambo 3, at least in the U.S. They Call Me Bruce, which I believe this guy was a stand-up comedian and one of the early Asian stand-up comedians. Granted, telling obvious jokes about his nationality. And it helped to get him this movie, Johnny Yoon. I believe he was a guy interviewing Jackie Chan in Cannibal Run. And this is a movie that, it has this rough around the edges quality, like some of the supporting actors and the villains and that. But Johnny Yoon and his dialogue and the way he reacts to things makes the film work. And like when he's training with this master, he's doing all this, and then he punches, but then this glass explodes. Did you do that? No. Memorex. There's stuff like that where it pokes fun at the genre, and people keep thinking he's a martial arts guy, but he's not. They keep calling me Bruce, but I'm not. So it's just take a little bit of the piss out of things, and John Yoon is good natured in it. Very nice. Oh yeah, the sequel. They Still Call Me Bruce. I've only seen this film once, so I don't remember much of anything about this. Because I think the first one... Again, I don't think this is on DVD. I know the first one's on DVD. And the first one might be on Blu-ray. But I don't even think this got a DVD release. There's a... Oh, what's his name? From, yeah, They Call Me Bruce has a Blu-ray, but They Still Call Me Bruce I don't think does. Yeah, this had the kid, David Mendenhall, from Over the Top. And obviously they have the song Soul Man during the trailer. I'm a soul man. You also had Donald Gibb in the movie, who was in Bloodsport. Weekend at Bernie's. Childhood favorite of mine, Weekend at Bernie's. I thought Andrew McCarthy and Jonathan Silverman worked very well together. And yeah, the idea is silly. If a guy died, the fluids would be released, he would shit himself, he would be stinking up the joint, no one would be oblivious that he was a dead body, he would smell. I get that. I understand. But if you take that aside, I think it's a pretty damn hilarious movie. I think the two leads worked very well together. I think this ruse as they're trying to come up just gets more and more ridiculous situations, and there's almost a bit of a black comedy style to it as well. Just how many ways is dead body just thrown about. I think it was a good idea to make Bernie such a lowlife so that even in death, the way his body's jettisoned around, you're like, yeah, he still deserves it. Because he was such a creep in real life. Like the bit where you're tying the shoelaces together and make him seem as if he's walking around, and as much as not a realistic idea, it's a pretty enjoyable semi-black comedic idea. I still laugh, like the things being dragged and it hits those damn things. What is that noise? I don't know. Bernie. It's just Bernie. The sequel, not so much. It didn't need a sequel. But the first one I thought worked well for what it needed to be. And it was a decent size hit. I always forget Ted Kotcheff, the guy who did First Blood, did the movie. I always forget about that. That's another one that would have been nice to see a special edition we did of Bernie's. I know it's on Blu-ray. I don't think I have the Blu-ray, but I know it's on Blu-ray. We did a DC Cab, directed by Joe Schumacher, which is like a Joe Schumacher film no one remembers. Like, no one remembers this movie. But it works. I mean, you had a great cast of people. You had Gary Busey, you had Mr. T, you got even like people like Adam Baldwin in it. Crazy taxi drivers, like, it's a. I'm sorry, I'm trying. It's 2 hours 20 minutes in. I'm running on fumes. I'm trying. The Police Academy. I would say I like the first 4 Police Academies. I like the first 4 of them. Yeah, the first 4 is pretty good. After that, kind of lost his luster. When Steve Gutenberg left, it just wasn't the same. When you got the Police Academy 5 and 6 and Mission to Moscow, again, just wasn't the same. But people forget the first Police Academy was rated R. Because now Police Academy is known as such a good-natured, silly, goofy. But yeah, the first was rated R. And I don't know what happened to that Police Academy documentary. Because it was advertised, but those people, they try to put too many damn documentaries. They tried, the guys who did the Fright Night, You're So Cool Brewster documentary, which I've had issue with one of those guys from the past. Lo and behold, they took on too many projects. I knew this would happen, and I was right, because they were doing the RoboCop documentary, a documentary on Night of the Demons films, a documentary on Robert Englund, documentary on Pennywise, the story of the original It movie miniseries, a Police Academy documentary. Where are any of those at? What made those Steve Gutenberg, I think, was a wonderful lead. People forget how big Steve Gutenberg was at this time period. Nowadays, people are like, Steve who? Steve Gutenberg who? But this is a guy that the first 4 Police Academy's films were hits. That's why they kept making them. Cocoon, Short Circuit, 3 Men and a Baby was the biggest hit of that year. He was in a lot of movies that did well, and so I know we're in Police Academy 2, but a little bit more into this. One Institution, The Story of Police Academy. It's supposed to be a feature-length documentary. And they got Steve Gutenberg in there. They got Bobcat Goldthwait, all these people. They're supposed to be going to each of the films. I love how it says here, one positive about the lockdown. We're flying through the edit. This was back in 2020. 2 years ago. Yeah, you're flying through the edit. My favorite Police Academy was always the 3rd one. That's the one I watched the most. I'd probably say 1, then 3, then 1. Do I like 2 or do I like 4? I don't know if I like 2 or 4 more. I don't know. Sorry, just... Sorry, I have to return a message. But again, I don't know what's going on with this documentary. The last update was in 2021. Wow. You put that out now, mister. Well, he got the... Well, he missed the fly. Yep. Just to the 4 with Steve Gutenberg. Bobcat Goldthwait was in the second one as the villain, but he was on the police force in 3 and 4. I probably, more I think about probably 3, 4 than 1 than 2. Just 3 and 4 I kind of watch back to back. The Citizens on Patrol is interesting. You have Sharon Stone in an early role. Even that rap at the end, Citizens on Patrol. You have like a very early role by David Spade as one of the new recruits. I mean, Citizens on Patrol, that pretty much tells you what the plot is. So I'm just trying to find out if there's any info on this damn thing. Like, what's going on here with the... No, there's really nothing. I don't see anything from 2022. Good luck to those who, paid money for it. I mean, by this time, yeah, Marion Ramsey passed away. Art Matrano, who's in Police Academy 2 and... Yeah, I think he was in Police Academy 2 and 3. He passed away. And I know we're at the end of the trailer compilation, but I'm just, again, looking into this. Apparently in 2020, Steve Gutenberg did a 3-hour interview. Think about a 3-hour interview on this. Of course, they'll use 20 minutes of it in the doc. So what was he talking about for the other 2 hours and 40 minutes? Sorry, now I'm going to the website. I'm seeing if they have any info. Store closed, sold out, coming soon. Pennywise story of it. Story Please Tell Me, Robodoc, Icon, the Robert Englund story. Parts just begun, the latest of Night of the Demons. Maybe you should not have tried to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fucking documentaries at the same time. Just saying. Maybe that would have been better. Maybe that would have been better. Just saying. Just saying. And the last recent post was May 2021. So wow. Not a fucking thing in 2022. Really? I mean, what's the problem now? You can't say it's the C to the O to the VID. You can't say it's that now. To not post anything? I'm sorry I'm going on this rant, but yeah, I'm going on a tear. What the fuck's going on? Let people know what the fuck's going on with their stuff. That they probably paid for. Put money into. Give them a fucking update. So. Anyway, sorry about that. Anyway, that was fun. I guess comedies I would add in there, for me personally, because I'm not. Again, this is his list, his compilation. I would add The First Airplane in there. I would take out films like Volunteers. So I'm trying to think. Summer Rental I would add in there. I do like Summer Rental. I guess The Goonies is going to be the more the fantasy. Weird Science? I guess Weird Science is going to be in another compilation. I think of that as comedy, but maybe put that in sci-fi or something. He's not been in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but I am. I would put Ferris Bueller's Day Off in there. Ernest Saves Christmas. I would put that in there because I enjoy Ernest Saves Christmas. Let's see. Moving Good, Twins. I would put Major League in there. I think that's a fun one. Good Morning Vietnam, pretty decent. Inner Space is probably in sci-fi. Let's see. Same with Who Framed Roger Rabbit. But yeah, a lot of good choices in there. So, with that said, thank you guys for watching. Thanks once again, my friend Efree. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for being my friend. Really do appreciate it. Take care, guys. We will see you later. Bye-bye.